Already taking a look at my own swing here and trying to figure out why I can't get the club to exit on plane. So we're looking on the through side on plane. I know it's a little bit of a body issue, but it's interesting that when I put a club in my hand on the ground with a ball, it doesn't exit on plane. But when I got over here on the right side, all I've got is a speed stick as I'm doing a little workout. I'm going to try to add some club head speed um, to my game. My driver club head speed right now is averaging about 107. That's indoors, so I'd suspect outdoors it's closer to 109, 110. It just seems like everybody gets a little bit faster when they're outdoors and kind of on the golf course or even on a range, not an enclosed area. But I would still like to see myself get it to 113, 115. That would take my carry driver distance from about the 270, 275 range to the 290. And would just allow for a lot more playability and aggressiveness, especially on par fives. So, kind of going through that process, but I kind of noticed something when I just swing in the speed stick, and obviously I'm starting it. It's hovered off the ground a few inches, and that kind of stuff. So what I got up here on the right side, the yellow line is the same plane angle as my 6-iron over here on the side. Obviously this is longer, closer to driver length, so I'm going to check spine angle here and kind of figure out what it is. So we're 48 on this side and 57, so 9. So that means I need to lower this by the same 9 degrees roughly and move this out here. So if I was 68, I'm going to try to get something in the 59 range, something like that. So orange is going to be my new driver, basically shoulder plane angle. So we can kind of have a good reference of comparison there. So what I want to do is kind of just look at my 6-iron and try to figure out what it is that's causing it. So we're basically just worried about the through side. So first thing is I notice a little bump into my right hip. It'll be interesting when we get on some pressure mats to see where my weight goes. So I'm guessing it's a little bit too much on my right heel, and that brings my arm down and doesn't get it up enough. Because when I'm hitting it really good, my backswing needs to be on this plane. So right here at this point, I would need to see the club more on that plane. And then as we keep going, it would be more up on this plane. And eventually my hands would get up on that yellow line. So you can see my hands are a little bit low. So that tells me my weight's a little bit off here and I'm not using the ground the right way. And then coming down, I need to be on that same shoulder plane because I'm an on-top player. My right elbow's a little too even with this one. That club's a little shallowed out, just a little too much. And that could very well be it. We'll look on this other side. So you can see here the club's extending out on my shoulder plane line. Everything looks well and good here. But you can see now how my hands start to work up around to it. That club's going to get a little underneath that plane, and then because it's under, it doesn't round off, and you can see how it never gets to the outside of my body. Never ever does it break this back wall of my body. That club never hits that wall and gets going to the left enough while I'm playing. So ideally I'd like to see that club, we're going to do this one in red, going up in that direction someplace on the plane but exiting a little bit more left. So what's interesting when I go over here and we look at just with this stick, we can see, or at least I can see, still getting in that right hip a little bit too much. Gets the club a little too flat. But you can see it's a little bit higher, so it tells me I didn't do it as much. Maybe load a little bit better. Still a little shallow. But you can see how far left that club is exiting, and it's almost perfectly on that orange plane there. So if I did my wall here again on my cheek, you can see there that club's breaking the wall, really breaks the wall and rounds off. And it doesn't matter, this club I know is longer and flatter, but if I had a video of my driver, it would still look that same way. So I'm not really sure what's going on, why that is. You can see here my bodies look very, very similar at this point, but the club is totally exited in a totally different manner. And that's the real issue, and something that's bugged me my whole kind of career a little bit. And I feel like it cost me a little bit of distance because I feel like my motion here on the left gets at the ball hit with a glancy kind of feeling to it. Kind of a little too shallow, a little too into out. Club working a little too up and kind of over the top of it, like almost hitting a forehand in tennis. So therefore it's kind of remove and spin, so my miss is kind of a low left shot, and I think it's just because of a lack of spin. So I notice when I hit some 6-irons on TrackMan, I'm in the 3,000, 3,500 spin rate, and I think it's because that release action is not really compressed. So I need to figure out what it is that is allowing this different action, different exiting over here, so I can build it into my whole game. So progress. I'll come out with an update when I got it.